Everyone is different. That's the truth. No school book can erase, no system can flatten, no society can regulate. You were not born as a copy. You were born a voice, a rhythm, a pulse in the great symphony of life that no one else can repeat. And yet, look around the world will try, with all its quiet persuasion and loud distraction, to tame your difference, to file it down, to make you normal, average, compliant. But hear me now, the day you settle for average, you betray the miracle of your own existence. You were not born to blend in, you were born to break molds. And if you want to succeed, truly succeed, not just in wealth, but in meaning, in strength, in purpose, you must have the courage to be different. Success isn't a group project. It's not a popularity contest. It is forged in the crucible of solitude, chiseled by daily discipline, and lit by the fire of vision that only burns inside you. And that's why most people will never taste it. Because to be rich, truly rich, you must be willing to look poor in the eyes of the crowd. You must be willing to walk alone for a season, to stand out for a lifetime. The crowd is comfortable, but the crowd never climbs. The crowd waits, but the crowd never wins. And if you're watching this, listening to this, something inside you has already grown tired of the crowd. Something is stirring raw, restless, alive, the part of you that knows, I was meant for more. And that's where we begin. Your life changes the moment you stop trying to be like everyone else and start becoming who you were born to be. The truth is, people want different results with the same behavior. They want wealth, but follow the spending patterns of the broke. They want health, but eat like the careless. They want respect, but act like clowns. You cannot have transformation without separation. And that's what most people fear. Because different means discomfort, different means discipline. Different means you no longer have the luxury of blaming the world. It means you are now the cause, not the excuse. Let me tell you something. Success is a quiet process. It's not something you post about, it's something you bleed for. While they scroll, you study. While they sleep, you build. While they party, you prepare. And the day will come when the difference becomes visible, and it will not be subtle. It will be glorious. You don't rise by mimicking the herd. You rise by becoming a category of one. And that starts with attitude. Attitude is not decoration, it is architecture. Your attitude determines the structure of your days, the foundation of your discipline, the height of your potential. Most people think attitude is just about smiling more. Number. It's about how you talk to yourself in the dark. It's about how you respond when life hits you without warning. It's about the inner language that either fuels your fire or puts it out. Attitude is the hidden force that writes your future before the first action is taken. The average man wakes up complaining. The different man wakes up commanding. The average mind looks for what's wrong. The elevated mind looks for what's possible. The average attitude says, I'll try. The wealthy mind says, I must. Listen, you cannot have a rich life with a poor attitude. You cannot expect abundance while radiating resentment. You cannot conquer anything until you first conquer the tone of your own inner voice. If the world outside is chaos, then your inner world must become a citadel of calm. You must speak to yourself with honor. You must train your mind like a warrior trains his sword daily, precisely, without excuse. Change your attitude, and your altitude will follow. Next comes self-discipline, the true gatekeeper of greatness. Let me make it simple. If you don't control your habits will control you. You don't need more motivation. You need more standards, more clarity, more non-negotiables. The man who builds his day by whim will be broken by time. But the man who builds his day by principle will own his hours and his life. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is permission. It is the key to becoming who you know you're meant to be. The undisciplined man is always a prisoner to impulse, to comfort, to the opinions of others. But the disciplined man, he walks with a quiet power. He does not need applause. He builds his own approval through daily conquest. The alarm rings and he rises. The world distracts and he focuses. The urge to quit comes, and he smiles because he's not here to feel good, he's here to become good. Discipline is when you still show up after the mood has left the room. And here's the hard truth. Most people will never get rich because they can't even master their mornings. They want freedom, but can't even handle a schedule. They want luxury, but run from labor. Wealth doesn't arrive at random. It arrives through ritual. And that ritual is written in the ink of discipline. Now, let's talk about mindset, the seed of every success and the root of every failure. Mindset is more than thinking positively. It's about thinking accurately. Abundance doesn't come from just repeating affirmations. It comes from aligning your thinking with reality, with truth, with principles that produce. The rich don't just think big. They think clearly. They understand cause and effect. They don't make excuses, they make adjustments. Most people are emotional spenders, emotional thinkers, emotional reactors. But wealth comes to the calm mind, the precise mind, the mind that thinks like a builder, not a beggar. Every morning you wake up, your mind is a garden. The question is, what are you planting? Doubt, comparison, fear? Or are you planting vision, commitment, and courage? A poor man thinks in problems. A rich man thinks in patterns. The poor mind says, what if it doesn't work? The wealthy mind says, what if I work until it does? And that mindset shift, that one small shift, it changes the entire trajectory of your life. Because when your thinking changes, your decisions change. And when your decisions change, your life has no choice but to obey. Mindset is not something you visit once in a while. It is something you live inside daily. A rich mindset cannot be rented. It must be built, owned, reinforced, and protected like a fortress. Let's move deeper into the realm of communication. Not just how you speak to others, but how you speak to life itself. Words are weapons, tools, keys, and the man who masters his words masters his world. Most people talk like victims. I don't know, maybe someday. Their language is soaked in hesitation. But the man of power speaks in intention. I will, I am, I must. His words are declarations. They're blueprints. They're steps into the future he is already claiming. Communication is not about fancy vocabulary. It's about alignment. The alignment between what you say, what you believe, and what you do. When those three are aligned, your voice carries power. When they are not, you become noise. And don't just think I'm talking about public speaking. I'm talking about the daily conversations you have with your family, your clients, yourself. Every interaction is a window into your inner world. So speak with clarity. Speak with courage. Speak with honor. Because words build trust, and trust builds wealth. Let's talk now about something most people avoid: responsibility. You want to be different? Then take radical responsibility. No blame, no complaining, no waiting for the world to fix itself. You are not owed. You are called. The average mind says, why me? The different mind says, why not me? Take ownership of your habits, your results, your character, your future. The man who owns his flaws becomes stronger than the man who hides them. The man who owns his time becomes richer than the man who sells it for nothing. Success is not found in comfort. It's found in accountability. And you can't hold others accountable until you learn to hold yourself accountable daily, brutally, honestly. And if you've failed before good, that means you have data. That means you've paid attention. That means you're not asleep at the wheel. But don't stay there. Learn fast. Forgive faster. Move forward. Not because it's easy, but because the future deserves the best version of you. Pause. Take a breath. And now get ready. Because the next segment will dive even deeper into the internal fire. Purpose, vision, action, and wealth. Stay with me. This will be a soul awakening continuation without break. So now we arrive at what separates wanderers from warriors, daydreamers from builders' purpose. Purpose is not a hobby. It's not a mood. It's not something you discover on a weekend retreat. Purpose is forged in silence, in struggle, in solitude. It begins with a question: what am I willing to suffer for? Because make no mistake, greatness demands sacrifice. But when you are lit with purpose, sacrifice no longer feels like loss. It becomes a privilege. The man without purpose drifts. He changes direction with every trend, every whisper, every wind. But the man with purpose, he walks through storms with a smile. He faces criticism with calm. He doesn't ask the world for permission. He creates his own path because he knows who he is and why he wakes up. Purpose gives your pain meaning. Purpose gives your actions weight. Purpose gives your voice thunder. And when you know your purpose, every no you say is not rejection, it's alignment. You no longer chase applause. You chase legacy. You don't need more approval. You need more aim. And that brings us to vision, the architecture of your future. If purpose is the why, then vision is the where. It's the destination written on the walls of your mind before the world can see it. And here's what they don't teach you. If your vision doesn't scare you, stretch you, or keep you up at night, it's not big enough. Vision is the preview of life's coming attractions. And the clearer that preview, the more deliberate your steps. Vision turns someday into schedule. It turns distractions into dust. It turns doubt into fuel. Most people wait to see it to believe it. But the different ones, they believe it until they see it. They walk by faith, not by feedback. They know the eyes are followers, but the mind must be the leader. Protect your vision. Speak life into it. And most importantly, build toward it. That's where action comes in. Let me make something clear. Nothing changes until you move. Thought is potential. Action is power. The world does not reward intention. It rewards execution. Don't tell me what you plan to do. Show me what you do when it's cold, when it's early, when it's inconvenient. That's where character is revealed. That's where wealth is built. Action is the bridge between desire and destiny. And every action either adds to your confidence or subtracts from it. If you act in alignment with your vision, your belief in yourself grows. If you delay, hesitate, procrastinate, you train your mind to doubt you. Stop waiting for the right time. The right time is a lie told by fear. The only right time is now. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who work while they wait. Every step you take is a message to the universe that says, I'm serious. Every habit you keep is a signal to your mind that says, I'm ready. Every discipline you master is a promise kept, and success is nothing more than the result of promises kept in the dark. You want to know the secret to confidence? Keep your word, not just to others, to yourself. And now we arrive at the mountain wealth. But let me strip the glitter off for a moment. Because wealth isn't just money. Wealth is choice. Wealth is waking up and deciding what you do, who you do it with, and where you go. Wealth is freedom in motion. But make no mistake, wealth is a byproduct. It is the consequence of value multiplied by consistency, aligned with purpose. It doesn't fall on you. It flows to you when you become the kind of person who commands it by character, by skill, by mindset, and by service. And here's the paradox. The people who chase money never catch it. But the people who chase mastery, they become magnets. People pay for value. And value comes from solving problems, thinking clearly, acting boldly, and showing up with something different than what the world expects. Remember, everyone is different. But few dare to live differently. The average man buys liabilities. The rich man acquires assets. The average man consumes. The rich man creates. The average man waits for a raise. The rich man raises himself in skill, in courage, in insight. And it's not just about making money. It's about becoming the kind of person for whom wealth is a natural side effect. That kind of person walks different, talks different, thinks different. And that's why they live different. You don't attract wealth. You attract who you become. And who you become determines what you allow, what you tolerate, what you believe, and ultimately what you create. You want to build wealth? Then upgrade your standard. Not just for money for you. Upgrade your circle. Upgrade your information. Upgrade your habits. Speak in the language of value. Think in terms of growth. Operate from conviction. And when you rise, and you will rise, don't just keep the wealth. Multiply it. Spread it. Teach it. Because wealth that stops with you dies with you. But wealth that flows through you becomes legacy. Let's go deeper. Wealth isn't stored in banks. It's stored in your behavior, in your ability to delay pleasure, in your skill to solve problems, in your clarity of thought, in your emotional discipline when the world panics. Real wealth is not loud. It doesn't show off. It shows up daily, early, focused. And the path? It's lonely at first. People will call you obsessed. Let them. People will say you've changed. You have. People will whisper. But one day they'll watch, they'll ask, they'll wonder. And you won't need to explain. Because your results will speak for you. So what do? We rise in the morning like warriors. We speak with clarity. We think with precision. We act with urgency. We train like our future depends on it because it does. And we don't conform, we transform. We don't chase, we attract. We don't shrink, we sharpen. And every day we remind ourselves, Everyone is different, but I choose to be different on purpose. Different in mindset, different in energy, different in focus, different in follow-through, different in results. Because I wasn't born to blend in. I was born to break through. And I will. You see, most people live their entire lives as if their time is renewable. They act like they can borrow more years from the bank of tomorrow. But you and I both know you don't get time back. Every day you spend in mediocrity is a day stolen from your future greatness. So I ask you now, what are you waiting for? Permission? Applause? A sign from the sky? You are the sign. You are the permission. You are the author of this story. And the pen is in your hand. The paper is blank. The ink is your actions. And the final chapter hasn't been written yet. This is your life. And you only get one. The masses live in repetition. The few live in reinvention. And here's the truth. No one tells you every great life is a result of relentless reinvention. The version of you that got you here will not get you there. Every level of success demands a new version of you. Stronger, sharper, cleaner, focused. But reinvention means release. It means letting go of the parts of you that no longer belong in the future you're building. You can't take your old excuses into a new season. You can't carry your comfort into your calling. You can't bring your laziness into a life of abundance. Success is not addition, it is subtraction. You must subtract weakness, subtract distraction, subtract comparison, subtract guilt for wanting more. Most people won't do this because it's hard, it's lonely, it's painful. But those who do, those who dare to subtract, gain everything. Let's talk about the next rare virtue, emotional discipline. The difference between rich and broke is not talent, it's emotional control. Your emotions are not your enemy. But if you don't master them, they will sabotage your momentum. Anger unchecked becomes destruction. Fear unchecked becomes paralysis. Ego unchecked becomes isolation. But when you master your emotions, you become unstoppable. You use fear as fuel. You turn anger into focus. You convert sadness into strategy. You don't deny emotion, you direct it. The man who is calm under pressure, focused under stress, grounded in storms that man becomes a leader, and leaders attract opportunity, wealth, and legacy. So don't ask, how can I avoid emotion? Ask, how can I channel it? Breathe through the chaos, see through the fog, decide through the noise. Your emotions are data, but you are the decision maker. Next comes a forgotten pillar of power: solitude. Yes, you heard me right. In a world that glorifies connection, distraction, and endless input, solitude is a superpower. You will never hear your own voice until you silence the world. You cannot build a different life while constantly swimming in the noise of sameness. The rich think in silence. They sit with ideas. They contemplate moves before making them. They don't panic because they've rehearsed their mind in the quiet. Solitude isn't loneliness. Solitude is sovereignty. It's the place where you make agreements with yourself, where you get honest, where you reset your compass. And every person who's built an empire, inner or outer, has walked through the wilderness of silence. You need time away from the crowd to remember who you are without them. And that brings us to something sacred: identity. Because the truth is, you will never outperform your identity. You can read every book, take every course, repeat every affirmation. But if deep down, you still see yourself as average, broke, or undeserving, you will sabotage your success every time. The question is not, what do I want? The question is, who am I becoming? Identity shapes action. Action shapes result. Result reinforces identity. It's a cycle, and most people are stuck in the wrong one. Break it. Start with the way you speak to yourself. Start with the standards you allow. Start with the image you carry when no one is watching. The rich build identity through integrity. They become the kind of person who earns trust, keeps promises, respects their own vision, and honors their future with their present discipline. You're not just chasing a dream. You're becoming a person. The kind of person who builds dreams. And that's why environment matters. You can't grow roses in concrete. You can't build belief in a room full of doubt. You can't train excellence while swimming in mediocrity. Your environment is either fertilizing your future or poisoning it. Look around you. Who do you spend time with? What do you allow into your mind? What does your space say about your priorities? Your environment is either making it easier to win or making it easier to lose. You can't always control the world, but you can control what world you live within. Set boundaries, curate influence, build a space for greatness. Because energy is contagious. Beliefs are contagious. Habits are contagious. So if you want to be different, you must live different down to your very surroundings. And now we touch the core, the final weapon in the arsenal of the uncommon. Faith in the process. Because it won't happen overnight. Nothing real does. Success is slow at first, like watching water boil. Like climbing stairs when you're already out of breath. Like planting seeds into soil that looks dry and dead. But faith, real faith, is doing the work before the reward. It's pushing forward before the evidence shows up. It's showing up when you're tired. It's believing when nothing outside of you has changed, because inside you already have. Faith is the bridge between effort and outcome. It is the daily whisper that says, keep going, this matters. And the truth is, you won't always feel it, but you must never stop choosing it. Faith is not a feeling. It's a decision. You don't need the crowd. You don't need the approval. You don't need the proof before you plant the seed. You need to walk like the person who already knows the harvest is coming, because it is. And now the flame becomes fire. The inner voice becomes thunder. The old life burns. The new self emerges. You are not for everyone, and that's your power. You are different, so live like it. Let them mock your routine. Let them question your intensity. Let them whisper behind your back while you walk toward the future they will never reach. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be legendary. And now we come to the great crossroad where the man you were meets the man you could be. Where your history tries to hold hands with your destiny. And you must decide, do I go back to comfort or forward into greatness? This is not a question for the faint of heart, because forward means letting go. Forward means the death of your excuses. Forward means no longer being available for mediocrity, no longer answering the call of laziness, no longer participating in the rituals of regret. This is where you choose, because life will offer you the same deal every day. Blend in and feel safe, or stand up and feel powerful. But you cannot have both. You cannot be exceptional and accepted by everyone. You cannot become elite while addicted to ease. You cannot have freedom while clinging to approval. And listen, you may lose people. You may outgrow circles. You may walk alone for a season. But solitude is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the quiet where kings are formed, where queens sharpen their crowns, where warriors rehearse their next strike. You will never regret being disciplined. You will never regret standing out. You will never regret living fully, wildly, differently, with every drop of you poured into your purpose. But you will regret waiting. You will regret the years spent living someone else's version of you. You will regret the silence you gave when your soul was screaming. You will regret the dreams you buried in the soil of self-doubt. So don't you dare let this life pass without a fight. Don't you dare shrink to fit in when you were designed to stand tall. Don't you dare go to your grave full of potential, rich with ideas you never released, overflowing with energy you never used, buried under layers of maybe later. Because now is your moment. Now is the only time you have. And here is the truth. You were not born average. You were not designed for comfort. You were not meant to live on repeat. You were carved from difference, built for resilience, wired for victory. You were born to rise, to shine, to disrupt, to awaken the sleeping greatness within you and unleash it boldly, wildly, relentlessly into a world starving for authenticity, power, and truth. And if you choose that, if you choose to become the one who dares to walk differently, everything changes. Your thoughts sharpen, your habits harden, your posture shifts, your words carry weight, and your very presence becomes a force. Because you are no longer pretending. You are no longer apologizing. You are no longer explaining your fire to people still afraid of their own smoke. You walk different. You speak with conviction. You move with intention. You live with command. And the world, whether they understand it or not, feels it. They feel the shift, the strength, the heat, the certainty of someone who knows who they are and who they're becoming. That is power, not noise, not volume, not performance, but presence. And here is the final truth. You do not need motivation. You need a promise to keep, a promise to your future, a promise to your family, a promise to the child you used to be, a promise to the legend you are becoming. Make that promise today. Make it boldly. Make it loudly. Make it so clear that your old habits cannot survive in its shadow. And keep it. Daily, quietly, brutally, unshakably. Because that is what separates the ones who talk from the ones who transform. Everyone is different, but not everyone chooses to be different. You must choose it, own it, live it, defend it, and become it. Because your difference is your doorway, your edge, your advantage, your birthright. And if you walk it long enough, if you walk it fiercely enough, you won't just be different. You'll be unforgettable. You'll be unshakable. You'll be unstoppable. And when they ask you what changed, you'll look them in the eye and say, I stopped trying to fit in. I decided to rise. I became the person I was always meant to be. Because I finally understood everyone is different, and I had to be different to succeed. Now go, and don't look back.